Welcome back to the warm-up. Ben Simmons doing exactly that as the Philadelphia 76ers start their season at 7:30 in the Wells Fargo Center. The clock is ticking for you to get your fantasy lineups together. Tim Doyle has all of your FanDuel fantasy answers. And so we know that Zion Williamson out through November. So what rookies do you have making the biggest impact early in the season?
Chris, I got three for you that I believe are going to play a ton of minutes, starting with Ja Morant. He's the best Ja since Ja Rule. All right, I like Ja Rule. All right, I admit it. All right, always on time was a hit when I was in high school, but this is a guy whose usage is going to be crazy. Mike Conley was near 30. I think he's going to be around that same number from a usage perspective. In preseason, averaged 11 points and 7 assists. My biggest concern fantasy-wise with him is him taking care of the basketball. Rookie point guard, handed the keys. Another guy who's going to play a ton of minutes, too, is R.J. Barrett. Obviously, we know who the Knicks really wanted, Zion Williamson. Instead, they got his Duke teammate. I think he's going to play a ton of minutes. He led all the players in preseason in minutes, so his number is going to be quite gaudy. And Kobe White, why is he on my list? Check out the hair. I mean, unbelievable. The guy's got amazing salad out there, and he could score in bunches. His last preseason game, 29 points, 6 of 8 from 3. Obviously, a concern with the Bulls is they have a crowded backcourt. In that position, they have multiple players, but this is a guy who's going to score in bunches, and I think rookies are going to have immediate impact. Big thing for fantasy, Chris. You got to be on the floor, and I think these three guys are going to play a ton of minutes.
Tim, we should note that Ja Morant, definitely the best Ja of all time, especially over Ja Rule. I mean, there's no Fire Festival controversy with Ja Morant, okay? So we've got to get that settled. So next question for you. Players you can get for cheap. We know Ja Morant at some point in his career is going to cost you a lot. Who are some players you're looking at as great value picks?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the biggest insult ever, right, to be called cheap. But this is a good thing, all right, from a fantasy perspective. Jalen Brunson's a guy who may be the 2018 steal of the draft. This is another backcourt that's got a lot of guys back there, whether it's Barea, Seth Curry, Wright, or Hardaway Jr. But when Barea got hurt last year, Brunson averaged over 14 points and 4.5 assists. If he's on the floor, he's valuable. And then D Rose, at less than 5,000 on FanDuel, here's a guy who's going to get you 18 points. We all remember that 50 burger he had last year on Halloween. And I love the fact that his game has evolved. Chris, we remember when D Rose was basically the 6'3" LeBron and attacking the rim and dunking on everybody. Now the three-point shot has evolved. If you dive close inside the numbers, he shot nearly 40% until a late season slump. He blamed that on his elbow. They actually have him listed on FanDuel as a shooting guard. And I think he's going to be able to give you a handful of assists as well as a steal. He still attacks the rim, and with no Blake Griffin, Pistons going to have to find some scoring in other places. And D Rose, the way his game's evolved, mid-range jumper attacking the rim, I still believe he can go out there and get buckets.
So it was a year and a half the last time we saw Kristaps Porzingis, and he was giving us 39% from three-point range, 2 blocks a game, 23 points a game, and Luka Doncic was a great value as a rookie last season. But now with those two guys together, are they going to offset their values by being on the same team?
I don't believe so. Let's not forget, Doncic played alongside of Dennis Smith Jr. for 30-plus games last year and still put up incredible numbers, over 21 points a game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, kind of could do a little bit of everything. And with Porzingis, sure, you're worried about how the unicorn's going to bounce back, but I predict he will be a 50, 40, 90 guy in the near future. Because at 7'3", his skill set is so sick. And I believe once these guys develop some synergy, develop some chemistry, and the big thing is, can they stay healthy? If Porzingis stays on the floor, I think Dallas can go out there and win 45-plus games. I think this is going to be a dynamic duo. And, Chris, they're getting no love. We hear about all the great duos, Harden, Westbrook, LeBron and Anthony Davis. How about these two guys down in Dallas? I think Dallas is going to score a lot of points, and that's going to help your fantasy as well.
Hey, Tim, just to let you know, on our preseason show, Isaiah and I picked Porzingis and Doncic as our 5th best duo in the NBA. So, we got similar minds to where you are, my friend. Okay, when you're speaking of duos and thinking how you stack, what about the Sacramento Kings? Seems like their backcourt's coming of age, 2 guys who can play together in fantasy, and Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox.
Well, they're going to be fun to watch. And if you look at the numbers from a scoring perspective, they were 6th last year in the NBA, over 114 points a game, and 5th in possessions. Now Luke Walton comes to town, and good old Luke likes to play fast. That's good for fantasy numbers. I think De'Aaron Fox could be north of 9 assists, maybe even 10 this year. He's such an explosive athlete. He's always going to be compared to that draft class, whether it was Fultz or Lonzo Ball, because he was drafted after those guys. And Buddy Hield was just supposedly a standstill shooter. He's more than that. Like, he can create his own shot. He gets to the rim. He's giving you 20 points a night. The three-point percentage is unbelievable, shooting 43%, but he gives you 5 rebounds, and he makes nearly 4 threes a game. And the fact that they're going to play fast, they're going to play a ton of games, Chris, that are going to be in the high 230s, in the 240s as far as total score, and that is something fantasy absolutely love, because high scoring means a lot of points.
All right, here's where the big money is. Enlighten us on the Doyle's Daily starting lineup. Who you got?
The Doyle Daily got off to a horrible start, okay? But let's bounce back, all right? Tonight's going to be a little bit better. Andre Drummond, I think, is the most consistent center. That's why you have to play a lot. What makes him so valuable, he blocks shots, and also he gets some steals. Julius Randle's going to be on the court for like 119 minutes. He's never coming out for the Knicks. McCollum can score. Rozier's going to get all of Kemba's usage. I think Karis LeVert's a guy who will get you 20 a night. I love Covington's rebounding. That's key. Barnes, Bridges, and White could all go out there and score in bunches, but you got to bounce back. If you have a bad night, pick yourself up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's difficult to just get it right with 2 games like you had last night. You got 11 tonight, my friend, so we'll be watching to see how your lineup does. Appreciate your time. Thank you. So Al Horford in the house playing his former team in his first game with his new team. Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers tip off at 7:30. You're watching a warm-up presented by Ford. Some breaking news via Ira Winderman. Jimmy Butler not with the Heat tonight due to personal reasons for the start of the season. First game of the year for the Miami Heat. Isaiah, what do you make of this?
Well, Miami, they're a close-knit organization, and they keep everything, in-house. And, when you say it's personal reasons, I'm hoping that, his family, health, and everything is okay. And if there's something that we all need to pray for, our prayers go out to him and his family.
Dion Waiters also suspended. When we see the situation with him off the court, they moved Hassan Whiteside. This is a team that Pat Riley has said, hey, we need to get back to being who we are as far as discipline is concerned. What do you think about Pat Riley saying that in the offseason and where they are and what they're trying to do right now as an organization?
Well, one of the things that when Riley went to Miami and being fortunate enough to have, pillars in the organization like an Alonzo Mourning, a Tim Hardaway, then bringing in a Dwayne Wade, those guys were true pros, and they understood how to handle Miami. I mean, Miami, New York, California, those are difficult places for young people to come into and deal with the off-the-court nightlife. And when you're talking about being disciplined in Miami, there's a certain kind of player that has to be in that organization playing for the Heat. Miami's not for everybody. And I think what Coach Riley and what Pat Riley is getting back to is trying to figure out, okay, who can be here in Miami, who can handle the nightlife and still perform out on the court.
So Jimmy Butler not playing tonight for the Miami Heat as they open their season at home against the Memphis Grizzlies. 23 years and counting, the Spurs last missed the playoffs at the end of the 1996-1997 season. Last year, despite suffering some debilitating injuries in the backcourt, the Spurs were right there again. Let's welcome in NBA.com senior writer Michael C. Wright. Spurs have agreed to a fully guaranteed contract of $24 million for LaMarcus Aldridge for next season, so he will not become a free agent next summer. What is the thought process in making this decision now?
Well, the thought process is that the Spurs are sort of like at the dawn of a new era of basketball here. And LaMarcus Aldridge is the type of guy that helps them to transition into this new era. Obviously you've seen him play, and despite him getting up there in age, his game has really aged like fine wine. And so you need him. You need DeMar DeRozan. You need all those young guards. You need them all together for a couple years here to see how far they can take this, because I don't think the Spurs window is closed just yet. I mean, I think they have the capability to surprise some teams.
Michael, I agree with you. I think they have the capability to surprise some teams also, but it just doesn't seem to me that they have moved on from the Kawhi breakup. And even though Kawhi has had, he won a championship in Toronto, now he's with the Clippers. I don't know if the Spurs organization was truly prepared for that breakup. They seem like they're the type of organization that have, 5-6 year long range plans. And it seems like they're still trying to figure out how to adjust from that breakup, not only from a team standpoint, but also from an organization standpoint.
Isaiah, I agree with you, my man. I really agree with you here, because if, like tonight, you watch these Spurs play, and you'll see that this team was built to surround Kawhi Leonard. That's exactly how this team was built. And so in some ways, they haven't gotten over that. They've sort of had to kind of readjust on the fly. But, organizationally, they totally just rebooted the whole thing. R.C. Buford, he's no longer the GM. He's the CEO. They moved Brian Wright to the GM role. They have Becky Hammond, and they promote her. Will Hardy. Tim Duncan is on the coaching staff now. So they've done some things internally, organizationally, to try to change things up and try to sort of prepare themselves for the future. But I think you're right on the money with that. I think the Spurs were not prepared to lose Kawhi Leonard the way they did.
Well, the Spurs have two young, talented guards in Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray. They played a total of just 17 games combined last season, but Murray was spectacular at times in the preseason. What are the expectations for those two guys coming into this year?
Which two guys? I know you said Murray. I didn't hear the other one.
Lonnie Walker.
Lonnie, oh yeah, okay. Well, in DeJounte's case, last offseason, the Spurs were quietly just really excited about what they had seen from DeJounte in open gym. The first year he played, he actually made the all NBA defensive team. So the next evolution was for him to step up and try to see if he can improve on offense. And then obviously, he went down in the preseason with that knee injury. And so it sort of put everything on hold. So the expectation is high for DeJounte. And obviously you saw that the Spurs gave him a new contract on Monday, $64 million. So I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform. And as far as Lonnie Walker goes, man, he is so explosive. He's so talented. This is a guy that during the summer league, he looked bored sometimes. I mean, the guy was putting up 30 points a game. And so the Spurs have to figure out a way to incorporate him. And I think one thing that you're going to see this season is Spurs coach Greg Popovich. He's going to do a lot of load management with guys like LaMarcus Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan. And those will be the times that Lonnie Walker IV will be able to get on the floor and show what he's got.
Certainly last season we saw it with DeMar DeRozan. LaMarcus Aldridge had to score 20 a game for both of them for the Spurs to get victories a lot. Michael C. Wright, appreciate your time. Thank you.
You got it.
So Joel Embiid said that he wanted to be the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year this season. Is he going to back it up on the court against the Boston Celtics?